Okay, confession time. After 6 years of playing modelers almost exclusively, I'm finally back to playing real amps. And here's why. Alright, what's up everybody? I'm back to playing real amps. I'm gonna tell you why in just a second, but first, if you like the channel, you like the way I'm soloing, you like the way I'm playing, and you want to learn that soloing approach, check out my guitar courses in the description down below because you can definitely learn that. So the past couple months have been really interesting. I've been going through sort of a transformation. It all started a couple months back when I played that Wagner Ecstasy here on the channel, and I just fell in love with it. I didn't keep it, but I really loved having an amp next to me, and there sort of a transformation began for me, going back to amps slowly but steadily. And I'm finally at a point where I can say I've bought a new amp a couple weeks ago, and guys, I'm all the way back. However, I did think a lot about why did I make this change and what led me to this change. It's 3 different reasons why I'm back to playing real amps. Maybe they help you to find the right equipment that you need in your journey. Here they are. So the reason I even started using modelers was because I was a hired gun for pop acts playing bigger stages, and they wanted to have silent stages. Everybody's on in-ears, and that's why a modeler makes perfect sense, because you have a perfect sound on in-ears, you have it consistent every night, yada yada yada. We all know the advantages of modelers, right? The truth is though, I've always been a simple person when it comes to sounds. When I have a sound that I like, I usually don't stray too far from that. And that actually happened with me and the Camper for years. I used maybe 3, sometimes even just 2 different profiles for years, for every sort of sound that you can think of. That's just the way I work. As soon as I'm inspired by a sound, I usually stop searching. I have a couple pedals, I feel inspired, and I can do everything that I want to do. Sound search is over at this point. But where I really started to notice that was when I bought the Fractal FM9 last year. I love that unit. It sounds fantastic, but I stopped building presets after like 3. I built a Plexi preset, a Wagner preset, and a Diesel preset, and that's pretty much all I've been using since. So my preset building phase was maybe 2 days. Then I had the unit pretty much figured out. It sounded amazing, had the right IRs in it, done, you know? So I look at this unit right in front of me and I see a million foot switches, knobs and stuff, and I'm like, why am I even doing this? You know? I need one sound, and maybe a pedal that I can boost that sound, and maybe I need a delay, a reverb, tremolo, whatever, but that's all that I need. I don't need to build huge rigs with 16 effects in it and all that stuff. That's not how I work, and that's not how I'm getting my sounds. And that was the first thing that I started thinking about when I started playing that Wagner a couple months ago here on the channel, or whenever I would plug into my Marshall. I was like, it's actually the only thing that I need. So why do I make it this complicated on myself? And I would especially notice that when writing and recording, because whenever I would track guitars with my modelers, I would have option paralysis. I would have all the options in the world, and because I would have them, I would never finish a song. Just a couple minutes ago, I recorded the solo for the intro, and I just plugged into one amp. The sound was a little bit raw, but I was like, that's the sound of the amp. Let's just go with that. And that's what I need. So too many options that I don't need, and option paralysis are pretty much the first reason why I'm kind of going back to amps. The second reason, and maybe the most recent one that I noticed, was that it has to be fun and I have to have some sort of emotional connection or attachment to the gear that I'm using. I have to have that. Let me explain. So I think maybe that's an age thing. I'm getting old, guys, but maybe that's an age thing, but I'm staring at a computer maybe 10 hours a day, and then I'm probably going to stare at a phone 2 hours a day. So I'm basically always in front of computers. So when it's finally time to play guitar, I don't want to look at screens, I don't want to look at screens. I don't want to look at, all these different lights that are, glaring and all that different stuff. It's shiny, it's cool, it's super effective. And if I was still playing live the way I played 6 years ago, it wouldn't be a question. But emotional attachment with these kinds of modeling units is not there. It's basically another computer. When I'm firing up my Fractal FM9, it's like firing up my Mac. It's firing up a computer. And I'm sure as soon as this version is outdated, I would have to replace it with something else, the newer version of that. So it's basically just, a partnership between me and a piece of gear for a very limited amount of time, namely exactly as long as this unit will be technically supported by the manufacturer. So that is another thing. I don't have any emotional connection to these kind of things. But when I'm powering up an amp, when I'm flipping up that power switch, that's a feeling. Smelling those hot tubes and that dusty smell that comes from that corner of the room. It's not particularly nice when you're having guests over or something, but when you're playing guitar, best thing ever. And these things are also never perfect, which is why they're more human to me, Obviously, they're just items, but to me, they're human in that they're not perfect. When you drive one of these amps too hard, they start being spitty, They start being spitty and they fart out a little bit because those are amps. When you do the same thing with a Fractal, it always sounds perfect. It's perfectly compressed. It's perfectly polished, which is cool because it, dials out the weaknesses out of amps. Sometimes that's a nice thing. But when I'm playing guitar, when I'm doing something that is so important to me, something as playing guitar, it needs to have a fun element and an emotional connection. I need to have that. It's like when I'm an audiophile, I don't want to listen to MP3s, I just don't. I want to have the vinyl. I want to have the vinyl player. I want to have the glass cover. I want to open it. It needs to squeak when I open it. It needs to be an experience. And the older I get, I feel like the more I need guitar playing to be an experience for me. And I just want that. It's a luxury I so enjoy. I'm just, maybe that's just a phase in life. What's your phase right now? Are you in the modeling phase of your life? Or are you in the real amp phase of your life? And have you had different phases? Let me know in the comments. So call me wacky, call me old, call me boomer. I don't give a damn. I'm just so back playing amps. I just have that newly found joy for playing the real things. And it has nothing to do with the modelers not sounding great because they do. It has to do with me wanting to have an experience. And then the third and final reason why I'm just back playing amps is one that I can't completely disclose yet. I'm just telling you real quick. Look over there. There's a couple of new amps there that you probably haven't seen because I have bought one amp that is a pretty dark horse amp and it's such a cool thing. I'm going to do an entire video about it. So I'm not disclosing too much, but what I can say is that kind of amp is not in the Fractal FM9 as a amp model. It's not available because it's not a known amp, but it's such a good sounding amp. So good. Same goes for pedals. There's a couple pedals on my pedal board that I dearly love, and it's hard to remodel them in the Fractal FM9 or the Kemper. And that is, for instance, the Keeley Halo delay. It's such a sophisticated delay sound, very, very special sound and delay sound with tons of modulation baked into it that you can't really model that in the Fractal. I tried it and I failed. And the Fractal has tons of great stereo effects that you can use with real amps, but it can't specifically model special effects like the Keeley Halo. Man, do I miss this kind of delay sound. Very nice. Can't get it in the Fractal FM9. Which brings me to the following conclusion. Do modelers sound bad? No. Do modelers sound super good? Yes. I am a 100% proponent of modelers. Modelers are great, and you should have one. Me going back to playing amps doesn't mean I'll never gonna be playing modelers again, because as soon as I'm getting called up for a gig, obviously, I'm going to play a modeler if the circumstances require me to. So, and I have no bad feelings playing modelers at all. It's not either or. I'm not a black or white kind of person. Not at all. I like my modelers. I'm just saying, in the situation that I'm in right now, I'm much more enjoying the imperfect amps over there. And I'm much more enjoying pedals in front of me. I'm not always going to have them hooked up because sometimes I'm lazy too, and I'm going to use FM9 effects. That's cool, but firing up amps and having this newfound joy of playing these old boxes with tubes in it just doesn't get any better than that, man. But you shouldn't sell your modeler because your modeler sounds great. I have tricked many people into believing that I'm playing real amps when I was actually playing modelers all the time. On Instagram, for a long time, people thought I was playing, I don't know, vintage amps when I was playing the same Kemper profile over and over and over again. So this is not about one product being inferior to the other. It's just about the phase in life that you're in, I feel like. And this is my phase right now. Again, let me know in the comments what you're thinking, what you're playing right now. What is your setup? Give me recommendations that I could try in terms of amps, because I'm back in the market, baby. I'm back. I'm so back. And I'm going to make a video shortly about the new amp that I have in here that is a total dark horse amp. It is so good. I hope these reasons why I went back to amps are helpful for you in finding the best equipment for you. If you want to have any of the equipment that I'm using, check out the affiliate links in the description box. Check out my guitar courses if you want to learn my style of playing. And I can't thank you enough for watching. I've been Joey. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.